Perfect, man. Thank you. First of all, thank you for doing it.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, uh, one of the things is it's nice sometimes to do an interview and talk and hear some feedback. But with the whole COVID thing, we got a lot of time. It's before it's always traveling,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then the time off is in between gigs and tours. You get like a week here, 2 weeks there. Sometimes, if you're lucky, a month. But now it's just been, totally crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, yeah. It's the couple of people I've interviewed at this point. Everybody said the same thing. Is everybody's a lot more time to first of all write albums, write music.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
at the same time, they don't know what the fuck to do with themselves.
yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes like shit, I have to like you have to keep moving, right? And
Exactly. It's how you're used to it. But I decided to make the best out of it. Like everybody start drinking more and eating more while they're at home. I start doing the opposite lately.
yeah,
I haven't had a drink for, I don't know, since early December last year. I'm
yeah,
like, just gonna try to focus on writing music and try to make a routine, because it's great touring. I love playing live, and it's kind of like, how you make your living and stuff, but kind of doesn't work so good with writing new stuff. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
now,
yeah.
now there's more time. Now there's more time to write, and that's where I'm headed. So so I'm seeing the positive too. I've gone to the doctor, taking care of things I would usually wouldn't. I
Hmm.
had a small operation that I've been putting off because it takes like a month and a half to recover. So obviously that was the best timing. You know what I mean? I'm like, if it's not so, just looking after myself a little bit. Otherwise, it, otherwise it's all negative.
I hear you. I actually, well, you know what I want to start with this whole kind of interview is something my older brother insisted, and I'm talking about the whole week until I've met you, and I got to do this interview. He's like, you have to tell him how much of a fan I am. You have to tell him how much I love
Oh, cool.
Melechesh. And
Oh, I appreciate that.
it came actually from our cousin in Israel, Joseph Al-Hazaf. He's like a metal rock musician in Israel. And when we're
Oh, cool.
asking him about bands from Israel, can you show us somebody you think is
Yeah.
good? And he mentioned like a Masafer, he mentioned Orphan Land, and he goes like, check out Melechesh. I know you guys like heavier stuff. You need to check out
Yeah.
Melechesh.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I didn't know you had like a cousin who's a musician here.
Yeah, yeah,
You should
yeah.
get us in touch together. Where does he live?
I'm not sure because he's moved around quite a lot. I know at this point
Oh,
he
okay.
does have like his own little studio at home. And I know he
Oh,
switched a little bit less from, he used to do more metal and almost like
yeah.
Joe Satriani and almost Iron Maiden kind of style. And he switched it more to like weddings because he says it's very hard to
Oh,
make it as a metal musician in Israel. So he kind of
hard to
switched it.
make it in everything in Israel because it's a small country. It's
Yeah,
an
yeah,
issue of how much can you possibly do shows here.
yeah, yeah,
Um, a tour would be like two shows or three, and actually one would cover it.
yeah.
So yeah, obviously, and people here get married a lot and get a lot of children. So
For my family, it's like every other week there's a wedding.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We always get invited, but now with the corona, we don't go. But if they're close people, definitely. But yeah, people are in a rush to get married, I guess.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. And then I was gonna ask you actually, with Melechesh and you writing music, kind of what kind of music did you grow up listening to, and what were some of your favorite bands and artists that you kind of grown up with and influenced maybe your music or your tastes?
Yeah. Well, here it is. Actually, pretty soon there's gonna be like a TV network here is gonna do like an interview with me. It's about identity,
Yeah,
because I'm everything I'm not. That's what people always assume.
yeah, yeah,
Like in Europe, they would go, "Oh, you're Muslim or you're Jewish, so you don't eat pork or something." First of all, pretty much most of my friends do, but they don't get it that my family are from Christian background and they came as expats to Jerusalem, and I was born here.
Yeah, yeah.
And that doesn't click. No matter how hard I try to explain it, it just doesn't work. So, and with that comes the assumption that since the word East is there, that means you grew up on nomadic music or folk music. And actually, my
Yeah,
own family are surprised by saying, "How the hell you got into the Eastern music?" Because
yeah,
in
yeah.
the house it was pop and rock, and mostly rock actually, like Eagles, Foreigners, Genesis, and then I got into the Motley Crue. My neighbor had a record of Exploited that was the fastest thing, and I was such a young age. We still played with toys, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
got into the metal very young, and like literally we'd sing Invaders by Iron Maiden while we wore camouflage and play War. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 of course.
But yeah, that was what I was raised in, music which is made with guitars, drums, and rock basically, and that's what I started with. But of course, everybody needs to assume that automatically, if you're from this area, you must, But the world is more diverse. People simplify things. I've lived around the world. The most language I've ever used is English, and all these stuff don't fit in. Like I was in a junior high school in Los Angeles briefly. They couldn't get it how I could skateboard
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
sand, obviously. And in half the lyrics of metal bands, they talk about the sand in Jerusalem. There is no sand. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah, yeah.
Sahara. It's Mediterranean, with pine trees, fig trees, olive trees. So it's kind of like southern Greece and Italy.
Yeah.
Beyond Jerusalem, it gets to that desert, but it's not sand desert. It's very unique. It looks like a planet, like an alien planet, kind of like I think calcified calcium desert or something. So there is no Sahara. The sand is on the beach only. So these are the things that I deal with, and people, we thought people are as educated as we are in the sense of the world.
And they're
But no,
not.
you can go to the most advanced nation and they ask you the dumbest question, and how do you answer it? You have to repeat, like, yes, we do have ketchup. One
I've
interview, but that was a long time ago. They asked, how did we manage to get instruments? So
what?
we gave them what they want. We gave them. We said we went on horseback 5 days, was a peddler, selling rugs, smuggled them from the West. And they're like, oh, we're like, oh.
We
But
definitely got that as well coming to this country in the United States because we're all
yeah, yeah.
Persian. We're all Persian Jews, like we're Gorsky Jews.
Persian.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
Persian.
so how was it over there? Was there gunfights all the time? Like, no, it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
that's another thing. Also, the political situation, it's more political, and there are violent situations that happen.
Of course,
But when
yeah,
otherwise, the chances of you being pickpocketed in Jerusalem is next to none
yeah,
compared to being in London. The chances of you in Jerusalem to get, be shot by a gang or stabbed, it doesn't really happen. So
doesn't.
there's this, there's that. You know what I mean?
Of course,
Uh, Sometimes it's safer to be here than
uh,
in Europe or in America when there are gangs. There's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
and sometimes it's not. So nothing is as straightforward. If you hear something happening in Gaza, which is, I feel bad for the people there. It's like
Of
a
course,
war zone ghetto kind of thing. It's horrible. Yet there would be another area where people are on the beach having cocktails. I don't know about the morality of the situation. I'm not talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
I'm talking about 17 miles down the road, people wouldn't know what's going on somewhere else. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah. Because
People on the news, yeah, people on the news
yeah,
would
yeah,
see only where the camera is, and not
yeah,
seeing
yeah,
the
yeah.
nightclubs or the skateboard park or. So that's aside from morality and dignity and humanity. That's a complete different question we won't talk about.
Of
Every
course, yeah,
person,
yeah, 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 yeah.
any person with, any reasonable person have their own assessment on it.
Of
And
course,
it's,
of course.
yeah.
What made you though pick up an instrument, want to write music, and have like a starter a heavy metal band?
Ah, I don't know. Just loving it. When you're younger, you're always skateboarding, and I'm into metal and thrash. And I just wanted to play the guitar, so I made a fake one, literally a fake one, a piece of wood that looked like I don't know. It had a kind of like a triangle cut, kind of like an explorer shape, like James Hetfield, and put
Yeah,
threads on it and a fake whammy bar. And
yeah.
hey, that's creative. That's a
Ex-
step after air guitar. It's
That's how it
wood.
starts, right?
Yeah, it was a wooden fake guitar. Well, guitars are wood usually. So, and then I saved up and I bought me a. I went to Miami. It was Gulf War #1, and I went to like a pawn shop, I think. And I got there were two guitars hanging, and I got the one that looks like Metallica. There was Megadeth
Metallic.
or Metallica. That's how
Of,
I thought.
of
Me
course.
or this. Funny enough, I only use V's now, but that was my first guitar, and just made it. Came back to Jerusalem, and my friend and I just made a band. He got buckets, put tape from the Gulf War on it, because everybody got duct tapes and stuff for the windows not to blow up,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
thought
yeah.
missiles are coming. So every house had abundance of that. So we made drum skins from those on buckets. And later he elevated and got a snare drum, and
Yeah,
the cymbals were from those like the cymbals used in kindergarten, like little ones.
yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, and that's how we started. Just making music. It was part of your hobby or lifestyle.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
with time, it got more serious, obviously, and then it becomes your existence. So that's kind of how it's step by step. You get into it. Some people stay doing it. Some people, move on and do
Come
other
on.
things.
It kind of enveloped you, right? As a young man,
Yeah.
it just
Oh, totally. I never had ambitions to be signed or have an album because that's impossible. That's out there. The big artist record. I would laugh, like I would laugh at you if you'd say one day you'll do it. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, I just wanted to play. That's all, and it just started happening alone. There
And
was the underground, the old days. People sent letters to each other and tapes and demos. That was pretty cool. I experienced it because now people never tried that. It was so charming that people around the world sending letters and tapes, distributions, local radios, magazines, photocopied. We did it on our own. There was no infrastructure, yet it was quite a big network. And it's amazing that many of those bands are still playing today on a more professional level. We see each
yeah,
other
yeah.
at festivals, we smile, we're like, wow, we never thought that's possible.
I always tell the story on my channel of Creator and Sepultura back in the 80s when they would send tapes to each other because that was the only way to experience different style of thrash and death metal in different
Exactly.
countries.
Yeah, it's like that's the only way you hear it. And actually, there was a funny. We still joke about it about the return my stamps. People spent so much money on sending their allowance on stamps. They had a trick that put glue. The glue, that paper glue. They use it in kindergarten stuff, and then they send the letter so it gets stamped. The other person cuts it and sends it back to you. When you soak it in water, the glue fades away. Then you can use the stamp again. They're like, hell, brother, blah, 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 blah. Here's some flyers. Return my stamps. And you see some of them. You get a letter, and you can see that thing is being used maybe 100 times. The stamp is like saying, "Please retire me." So it's funny. Now it's so different and quicker and easier, but also less filtered. You know what I
and
mean?
and less personal.
Absolutely less. There's no person. It's angry people on the internet.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Then how
Angry people.
you told me,
Yeah.
like you didn't grow up with this kind of Middle Eastern music in your house. So how did you get the idea to kind of combine this, what I would say is like
Oh,
black
again,
thrash with Assyrian and all these elements together?
well, yeah, no, our origins, because my family are Armenian, Assyrian, Orthodox Christian considered. Now, that's an identity also. It's not like you're in church every day. In Europe, if you say that, it means, oh, you're in church every day or something. No, it's an identity, it's a culture.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of like you say you're Greek. Greek. If you say here the Greek Orthodox people and Armenian, they behave, their family structure is like a Greek family, let's say, or Southern Italian family, Mediterranean. So we're always aware of the heritage. I'm pretty proud of it.
Hmm.
And the thing is, um, when we hear rock songs using the pentatonic scale and whatever and all these, it sounded good, you know.
Yeah.
So you just want more of it, and basically trying out the Middle East beats on heavy metal on thrash worked
Yeah.
because now I kind of like in hindsight philosophize about it. They're both it's based on tribal music, and heavy metal is tribal music. They're
Very
both
much so.
primal. They have a primal thing, so it works. So when we tried those beats and patterns on normal riffs, it worked, and then you start from there developing it and saying, okay, that's the sound of Mesopotamian metal instead of Viking metal. You know, we wanted our
Yeah,
own
yeah,
identity. Besides, it was very cool, maybe, or empowering to some extent to see that there's bands around the world singing about Mesopotamian culture, you know, with the band names, subjects, and mythologies. So, like, whoa, that's from our culture. So it's cool to celebrate it. So yeah, these were the kind of like building
building
the
blocks.
first, yeah, the building blocks of making Melechesh. You know,
You know what it is?
making
When
but
we first saw your name and me and my brother looked at him, he goes, "He's Armenian." He's like, I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Come on, he looks like one of us." He's like, he's our
yeah, yeah,
brother.
yeah. Persians, Armenians, Georgians, the Turkish world, Greeks. It's all intermingled. Like actually, when I meet Persian people, we get along very. People don't know it that Persian people are the coolest party animals ever because they don't like what's going on there and this oppression, and they want to let it out. You know, they have
Of
a.
course.
It's a rich culture of art, music, you know, literature, and that's ignored nowadays. So you find that there's a lot of passion for that stuff. But also when I go to Greece or everybody's like, how do you get us? How do you get the joke? You make a joke as if you're one of us. I'm like, it's all the same, the Byzantium world in a way, you know? So there's a lot of similarity in social structures and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So I feel more at home there than in Jerusalem because here it's so divided. When I say divided, there's many different cultures. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The religious this, the not religious this, the that. You know, so yeah, and some bands they tell me, dude, you have the look already for the Septic Flesh on tour. They're like, we only call you Xerxes.
You know what it is? What I personally always like. The first album we discovered from you was Emissaries.
Oh yeah.
That was the first one, and I think what I really loved is as soon as I listened to it, it felt like I am listening to some non-specific Middle Eastern folk song with the percussion and the guitar playing. And
Yeah.
I think it's what automatically made us love the band. And I would say I would confidently say it's an extremely unique sound that to this day I try to find bands like Melechesh. There is no other bands like Melechesh, and it's not an exaggeration.
There are. Now there are. They're
Yeah, yeah,
actually, well, we invented that sound, that approach, we made it. Now there are bands that take reference to it, which is a very big compliment. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point. Non-specific, and I always want it to be non-specific. I call it inclusive, and we use from all the like from Kabbalah, from Persian Empire. It's not strictly Assyrian, Babylonian. That's it. No, it's
Yeah, yeah.
using the region. You know what I mean?
Because the
And
music over there is just beautiful. It's the music, the folk music is
exactly,
very
great
beautiful.
tones, great scales. I also love. I listen to Persian folk music, Afghan, Indian ragas. I go beyond. I open the horizon, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
try to absorb that. But the word is, I like it inclusive and to abstract take include it all. You understand me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you'll hear it, you'll feel the region or the time, the era, but not per se this point or that point or this kingdom or that culture. because that's what that was the point basically.
I mean, it also puts you in a box if you do that, right? You limit yourself to what you can do if you just say, this is all I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is with Melechesh is I never leave a box. So everything we do is not limited to one small thing, but it's always Melechesh.
Yeah.
So it expands to the cosmos, sacred geometry, how do you call it? The physics of sound, Kabbalistic, Arabic, pre-Islamic, post-Islam, whatever, the music and art from all the regions, Sufi, and there's so much around there. And they go very well with heavy metal and thrash metal. And usually the music itself comes from the root of metal. Yeah. And like, if I want to make a thrash song, it won't be like, oh, it's going to be influenced by Slayer. I literally go, what did Slayer get influenced with? Go to the root, punk or
blues,
heavy metal, blues, and then start going. But the essence of thrash is terrific in an aggressive way. So go to the root and then bring it forward. So always looking at the root of the music when I'm composing. So that kind of opens and broadens your horizon.
Yeah, I agree with you. As a matter of fact, what I would say also that for me personally, I'm going to speak for myself. What I loved about a Melechesh is the layering of instruments and melodies. Is that I think you've introduced a kind of a high level of complexity that on the surface, it might seem simple. And if you just listen to one ear, it's like, oh, this is very easy to get into and enjoy. Exactly. But if you start listening to it over and over and over, it's like, holy shit, there's elements to it and different instruments that layer on top of each other that create what the sound of Melechesh really is.
It's really fun doing, but also a hassle in the studio because you gotta play a lot of instruments. So what we say is what you hear at first is going to be extreme metal with the groove, whatever Melechesh is about, which works live and it's rock and roll. You can headbang on it. It's metal. But if you want, and you listen again and again and again, there are deeper layers. Also in the lyrics, by the way. So you can keep on digging in the same album and finding stuff out. Yeah, putting extra melodies. Sometimes I let them just roll the tape and I grab the guitar and just start throwing things there that feels right. And their atmospheres, lick, this, that, you know what I mean? And then you start hearing them later. Yeah. So we don't do virtuoso music. We do music, you know, just music, you know, and
you jumped ahead onto my next question with that one. I was actually going to say that. I was going to say, I noticed that you don't do like traditional per se solos in every song, but you create compositions like Illumination, The Face of Shamash, which to me is my favorite song. If I had to pick one Melechesh song, and you create, I think, very like interesting compositions, and you focus, if there's a solo, it needs to service the music. It's not necessarily to show how good of a guitarist you are. It's like it needs to be in the service of the music.
Well, I always forwarded solos, not always, most of the time, because they're made for the sake of like, I took the lesson, arpeggio, tap, tap, look at me, fast tap, arpeggio here, lick, lick, and I'm like, you know, I hear just, and I have ADHD already, so it doesn't work. It's too much. So I forward that. But there are guitar players, I even, you know, virtuosos, I appreciate, you know, for only them when they do it. And even like, if you hear some guitar players like Jason Becker or something, it's elegant. You know what I mean? It's about elegance. Of course. Melody, it's in the end, it's about music is melody, you know, not a sport for me. So kind of like when you say, here's a Porsche 911, it's a good car, it looks nice, it's good performing, it does everything. You can go to the grocery shop, or a drag racer car that just goes a straight line. And for me, that's boring for me, you know what I mean? So I don't want Guinness record or fetishism. I want to make music, you know, within the stuff I like, you know. But there are impressive guitar players that do such elegant solos, you know what I mean, that I do listen to.
Well, for example, I would say that about Yngwie Malmsteen. He's a phenomenal guitarist, but for me personally, it lacks for me the emotional connection that I want with music. because he's extremely
I've seen
skilled
him live
guitarist.
even once. Yeah, I've seen him live once, and he's so like he's a prodigy. He's a very talented guy. Good for him. I would prefer less solos, but that's his
That's
scene.
his style,
So
yeah.
yeah, I I also like melodies and I like riffs. I really love riffs. You know,
Yeah.
we've done solos. Like you say, they serve the song, and we'll keep on doing it. And if it needs it, it needs it. But
You,
I'm not.
you
It's
don't feel
not.
forced to do it.
No, for me, no. Other
Yeah, yeah.
people, they can do it, and they do it very well. So there's
Yeah, yeah,
enough
yeah, yeah.
guitarists out there doing it. I really enjoy melodies and riffs, you
I
know,
agree with you. Yeah,
and
yeah.
sometimes little leads here and there to serve the song, to give a question, an answer, a break from this. Yeah, that's fine as well.
It gives a little
But
texture when it's needed.
yeah, but auditioning my skill, I mean, like when you make a dish, you put the right spices for it. You don't have to put everything you got into one thing,
I
for me.
agree with you 100%.
So, yeah.
Where do you pull the lyrics from? Where do you go? Do you go to more like history books? What do you find the inspiration for the lyrics?
Up my ass. No, you know, I've done a lot of reading in the past, right? And it's imagination mixed with like kind of theorizing or making stories with abstract and metaphor. That's the word. A lot of metaphors. So yes, I done the reading. Sometimes I read again articles, books. I've done a lot in the past that there's not much left
Yeah, yeah.
about Sumerian, Persian, this that. I go through them again, some occult books, but I add the way I see it, like the what I'm seeing, because you see a vision and you tell a story, and
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
that there are layers of metaphor, and I don't, sometimes they say, how about you explain your lyrics? Yeah, I could do that. I might do that on YouTube, make because to say my point of view, but I also like
Hmm.
to see people's interpretation because when you close your eyes and you already know the lyrics and you're hearing the music, you'll see visions, like a movie in
I
your
agree.
head.
Or like a book, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A journey. You have something and I like that people have their own. I don't want to force it on them, but it's all within the same area. We're succeeding in doing that, But each person pictures it in their own way. But the lyrics are subliminal or metaphoric.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not only telling an old story. It's what if this happened, and some of them would even apply to today or the future, or to question our existence, like question in the sense of like not why am I alive, but like question what is this, what is that, where did we come from, and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of metaphor in the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say the comparison to like something Master of Puppets, which to this day most people don't know
Oh,
where he pulled that
yeah,
from. And he goes like, "Well, that's why we created that song, is for you to put your
yeah.
own interpretation into it and what you see inside the lyrics."
Chop your breakfast on a mirror. When I was a little kid, I'm like, why would someone put breakfast on a mirror? I don't understand. Ah, stupid American heavy metal. No, I was just like, I was the biggest fan of Metallica. All their lyrics and their logos in school books and like, like everyone.
Yeah,
But I didn't get it. But then later I'm like, oh. And
yeah,
the
yeah,
thing
yeah,
is, like till now, it's like, wow, it's very profound and well written.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
I always
you
thought
know,
James Hetfield was one of the top vocalists in thrash metal.
yeah, he's a great guy. He's a
Yeah,
performer, a vocalist, a good musician, great lyricist.
yeah, yeah.
Good performer, and funny enough, he's also a tormented soul, like a real artist. He
Exactly.
deals with his demons. He's pursuing happiness and peace of mind. And well, now I guess he can afford to do that, think of the many who can't, like
Yeah,
the artists who can't, but it's all well earned and well deserved. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, there are a few that have a charisma or literally artistic qualities. When I say artistic qualities, it's like sometimes how people drown is they hold their breath and then their body just forces them to take that gasp of air, and
The
that's an
water.
artistic thing. What happens when people there's something an implosion in their body and they just comes out as art. You can't control it.
Yeah,
Not, oh, I like it, I want to do it too, I want to be famous. That's not art. That's narcissism or something.
yeah.
And that drive could also drive to success, by the way.
Hmm.
Narcissism, egocentrism, megalomania, even being a bit of a psychopath, that could lead to success. But
Yeah.
when you see people are not stupid, they can see a real artist. Those are the ones that come from an inner scream coming out. Either it comes out as painting or poetry or sport. You start running nonstop, just running away from yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, he is one of those kind of characters. You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
I agree. I agree with you.
You could see it. You could see it in him, and you could tell those lyrics don't just you have to have some different wiring or a way to express the psychological situation you're in. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Have you ever
and
pulled
analyze it.
or have you ever pulled
Yeah,
or been interested or been inspired by art that's beyond music, like movies and
yeah,
art and
yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm a visual person. I mean, I appreciate seeing things, reading, aesthetics in general.
yeah.
They leave a mark. I mean, everything kind of leaves a mark, even situations and attitudes. Films, I'm actually really getting into movies more than ever, but things like Alessandro Jodorowsky is a great director. He's crazy. You should watch Holy Mountain he did and El
Oh,
Topo. I think El
um,
Topo was funded by John Lennon.
is he
But
Italian?
I think, wait, either Spanish or Mexican or half
Spanish.
half,
Hmm.
something like that. Like
This sounds
if
about
you
that.
see his interviews in the past, politically incorrect, crazy guy who goes like, "Yes, when I do Holy Mountain, I take LSD and I give everybody LSD and I sleep with all the women." He's so happy.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway, I like his work really. I like artistic movies or movies where they leave you space to reflect.
yeah.
Like not too much dialogues, more atmospheres, visuals, and there's still new ones being done like that. Big budgets, small budgets. So that's
Leave you
and also
thinking.
art. I mean, look, here's an underground movie with Nicolas Cage. Look at the film Mandy. It's like
Man.
a death metal, heavy metal, doom metal movie. Even the logo's like death metal. There's not too much narration, and it's
Yeah,
ridiculous and cool and fun. But it's based on aesthetics and visuals. It's like mixing, uh, I don't know, like Evil Dead with
Evil Dead.
Hellraiser with this. It's mixing everything, and you can laugh on it as well.
Yeah.
But it's the director. He has, I think, a Greek name. Very aesthetically retro, all lights and smoke and red lights and funny parts. Like a guy takes a chainsaw, the other guy takes a ridiculously long chainsaw, and
Yeah.
but it's aesthetic. It's art. People. It's not. It's art. It's an entertaining film. But it's also artistic value. Not a commercial product. But
Yeah.
I enjoy that. That's very new and accessible. You understand? But like the Holy Mountain is not so known in the unless you're a film aficionado. Ooh, I used that word finally.
Then what I was going to kind of put my next point and turn into is that as I listened to your albums, I think I've went from Emissaries to Epigenesis first, and then I started
Yeah.
taking my steps back into older Melechesh. And
Oh
I
yeah.
listened to Sphinx, and I love, first of all, I love the album Sphinx. I think it's an amazing, I would say even black metal album. But I thought
Yeah. It's
it
black
was
cat.
like a turning point almost for the band, I believe. because you started, for me at least, the way I hear it as a fan, you started embracing this kind of more ethnic sound in the music more than ever before. And from that point on, it almost seemed like you started leaning into it more and more with each album, with Emissaries, Epigenesis, and Enki, which I thought was very folky and has a lot of very beautiful melodies, which kind of came to, was it a natural course for you to do that? Or it was kind of a conscious choice?
Well, no, besides the first album, which was consciously made as black metal as possible, because that's what the label wanted. We already had been developing the sound. It's just getting control of your guitar or being more confident. You see, also don't forget in the metal scene, sometimes the scene itself holds you back. They tell you what's taboo, what's not. Hey, you can't wear that shirt. We wear it like this. Look at him, he's wearing that shirt. You know what I mean? So it kind of puts things on you, and it starts becoming like an incest family thing. That behavior, that attitude. So you don't have, I'm talking, it's the way I'm saying it is very literal, but it's in a subconscious thought also. So just forget about it. Let yourself loose and play, and you can go further. Unless you want to play a traditional homage style of thing, like we're doing, Motorhead or raw black metal. That it has to stay that way. I hope bands keep on doing that because we need it. We need it preserved. But if you're doing your own thing and you're developing it, just once you get confidence, it opens up. So because probably some of those riffs on Emissaries even and stuff, if you let me play it, if I had the skill to play it maybe, or the imagination in the beginning, I'll go, no. It needs to be a bit more,
that makes sense. Yeah. That makes total sense.
I guess, so it's just natural progression, I suppose.
It's part of you finding yourself almost kind of as a musician, right?
In a way, like a journey. I call it a journey, not a quest, more of a journey. It's like this is where we are today.
And let me tell you how excited I was when I saw Enki and you were doing songs with Max Cavalera and Sakis Tolis and Rob Gianni. How cool was it to work with those guys? Did you actually get to be in the studio with them? And
yeah, well, I mean, Max, we've met a long time ago. We met before the recording. He's such a cool guy. He said he loves the music. He dedicated a song to us live. They were headlining a festival. I'm like, whoa.
That's awesome.
telling the televisions or whatever interviews, like, yeah, today I met Melechesh guys, and like, okay, that's so flattering, because I looked up to him. I always loved the music they did. It was like a wow moment. And we said we should collaborate one day. And the Melechesh album came. So the opportunity came that he did the vocals. He did the vocals in the States. We were in Europe. Sakis also is a good friend of mine. He came to the studio. We sang together. Rob, we were texting. He's like, "What you're up to?" I'm like, "I'm in the studio now, and the song needs a solo actually, and it needs something different than I do." He's like, "Hell, I'll do it." But he was on tour till he got back home. The timing, it was all about timing. He sent an incredible guitar playing. That guy is a monster on the guitar. Actually, with Sakis, I sang also then after again in the studio on his album. On the last
For Rotting Christ
album. Yeah, I sing in Arabic, Voice of the Universe.
Okay, I don't think I know that song. I need to go check it out.
All in he goes, "Dude, can you do it?" I'm like, "I can, but when I speak Arabic, I speak very well, but you can still tell it's not my native tongue in a way."
Yeah.
But as an artist, you mimic. You do the accent and stuff. The lyrics, I start thinking about the concept, putting them, and a friend of mine who's an Arabic speaker start correcting the grammars as much as he could. And he typed it because, I didn't even know how to type in Arabic because I don't have the setting. But now I'm intentionally learning it. It's quite easy, But the thing is with Hebrew and Arabic, they don't have vowels.
Yeah.
So like Metallica would be MTLKA. Metallica, and you have to guess if it's Metallica, and that's the part that confuses me, So I could write it, even if I write in the Arabic or in Hebrew. If I try to write, I would add vowels, Mitali, and that would be wrong. So I had a friend helping me with that, and then I was flying from Jerusalem I was doing festivals in Europe, and I took a flight to Israel that stops in Greece, and Fotis, except the clutch, picks me up. We go to dinner. Sakis comes. Then I go stay at Themis's house, and next day record it and straight to the airport. Continue my trip to Jerusalem. My luggage is still at the airport. Just like on the way. I remember on the plane, I'm still fixing parts with a hangover. With a hangover because there was a festival the day before. I'm like, oh God, that was a bit too much. It turned out cool. Like they have a song in classic Arabic singing. You should check it out. Voice of the Universe, Kalam al-Kalam. Yeah. Some people go, it's not exact literal translation. I'm like, of course, you don't see movie titles with a literal translation.
Yeah.
Idea. So it's like, voice of the universe is Sawt al-Kawn, not Kalam. Kalam is the speaking of the universe. I'm like, yeah. You adjust the title, dumbass. But,
that's when you speak multiple languages, you understand this concept. You have to change.
Yeah.
Some things just don't translate. From Russian, for example, for me, from Russian to English doesn't always translate correctly.
Yeah, it's because it comes from a concept, so you need to word it. Some of the fun stuff is to see film titles in different countries, what they mean. Of course, in their country, it means something, but if it's translated into English, it's like totally off, but it works. So it's kind of it was a cool thing, yeah. So we did, like, he sang on my album, I sang on their album. It's kind of cool to collaborate, and why not?
100%. And how do you balance? You know what? As a naive metalhead myself, and I'm 34 years old. Like I'm still growing up with metal as a little kid. My cousins put me on heavy metal. I had this naive notion, like, oh, once you play heavy metal, that's all you do. And then I start talking to a lot of bands. They're like, no, it's like, no, we work part-time jobs or we work other jobs. How do you balance all of that as a musician?
Well, I had once like a nice, good office job and a master's degree in business, but actually, Melechesh has been my full-time job since 2007.
2007.
Yeah, I thought I'm going to do it for a year or two, like full time, but I'm still doing it. It's not a good thing always, because then sometimes I envy my friends who have a routine. Financially, sometimes it's rewarding, sometimes it's devastating. I mean, look at the Corona times.
Of course, yeah.
And like you can have a tour you rely on to live normal, comfortable, normal, nothing special. And then it could get canceled. And then, oops, finished. It could be cancellation. It could be strike of the airlines. It could be one guy falls down. So it's very volatile, and that creates stress. So what happens? Some people start finding escape from the stress, and that's when it starts to maybe go downhill. And it was kind of going with me like that. I'm always like, literally the last 4 or 5 years, I mean, I'm diagnosed with PTSD and I didn't know. And the last 4 or 5 years was kind of escaping myself, yet being buried in that life circuit and a little bit of self-destructive, So actually the Corona was going to be the peak of self-destructiveness. Sit at home, finish a bottle of whiskey a day or more, not get up. Sometimes I used to just like, they call me like, come play. My instruments are taking care of everything. I just show up, always sober on stage, obviously. Perform great. That's not the point, but it's for your health, for your mental health. And actually during the Corona, I'm like, okay, this is going to get worse. Musicians start dying. People start going to hospitals from hurting themselves health-wise. I'm like, you know what? It's going to keep on getting worse unless you do something about it and try to make it better. So I start looking after my health, and I start reading more. I start playing more music. I start falling in love with music more. Not that I fell out of love, but it became an overkill, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, an
And
anchor almost to fall on.
yeah, and now it's just literally back in love with music, exploring it, reading about philosophy, mythology, occult spirituality, science,
Yeah,
really broadening my horizon again as an artist. And that's a good thing in
yeah,
times of shitty corona. You
yeah,
understand me?
yeah, yeah.
So, but that was my choice. But I mean, yeah, financially it sucks. Emotionally, you want to tour, you want to, career-wise, there's things being canceled. Um, but what I could control, maybe it was me. And it was really, I just said, as of today, I need to look after my health. So people like, you quit alcohol? I'm like, no, I didn't quit. I just don't want to have any now. Maybe when on tour, in a party, on a birthday, that's all fine.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I didn't count the days or make it, it wasn't a physical dependency. It was more like, you just do it. You know what I mean?
So
Like there's
something to
nothing
fall
else.
back on when you have nothing
Yeah,
else.
nothing else to do. And then I'm like, wait a minute, let me enjoy the music. I don't, let me enjoy that. Let me enjoy that. And so that's how I started coping. But yeah, that's also a downside of it being full time.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
friends of mine, they're like, oh, okay, I have my income from my job, more time with the family. We'll tour later. Yeah, we miss it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
impact them from that point of view. So it depends how you look at it. And sometimes some people just like to try other things also. Like you're a good musician, you like to make music, you want to do music. But also maybe you want to try to write a book or you want to do this. It's your right, as a
Yeah, yeah,
human.
of course.
You have time to explore. Yeah, yeah.
In that sense, I could totally relate to you as a personal trainer. When COVID hit, I'm like, I have to improvise, otherwise I'm gonna be gone. And the stress and everything. And it's the same
Well,
for
yeah,
me
yeah,
is to focus
yes,
on
yes,
myself, what mentally problems I need to might deal with. So
absolutely.
I absolutely understand where you're coming from in that
I
perspective.
mean, you're a personal trainer and you're not allowed to meet people, and maybe you can do something online. It's not the same.
Yeah,
What
it's
you're
not the
gonna stay
same. It's not very
looking at?
personal.
Yeah, you're gonna just watch TV and do nothing. Yeah, it's fun watching a good film, but at least you're doing something, and this is your time out. You're having
Yeah, yeah,
fun,
yeah.
but not like, what should I do now? You feel kind of helpless because it's not in your hands. So you
Yes.
do whatever you can with your own hands to whatever is possible.
Okay.
So yeah, I kind of was lucky because I thought if I didn't do anything about it, I don't want to know how I would have been today. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
health
yeah,
wise.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I was gonna ask you a non-metal question, and are you a fan of football, and what's your team?
I'm sorry, no.
No
I'm
football?
sorry. No, nothing. I can't get into it. I don't like it.
Oh no.
I don't get it. And this is wait. My best friend. We're like twins.
Yeah.
He was also into it, and I don't know how. Like it shows when people get along, you can have different interests. Like I
Yeah.
remember when he would be playing soccer or football, I would be sitting on my skateboard or just like waiting for him to finish, but with patience. I like it,
Yeah. Yeah.
reflecting. So, but I never liked the game. But when it's World Cup, because it's basically battle of the planet, I do watch some games exactly. But I I see the positive, but I also see the negative. People are killing each other for the football, and I'm like, why?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
guys are shouting racist stuff? Why these guys are doing this? It's this athlete. So when it's done with proper sport
Etiquette.
spirit, yeah, I think it's. Oh, I respect it. But when I see people like, what's wrong with you? You stabbed this person because this round
Yeah.
object entered that net. It's physics with skill.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
admire it. And the cool thing is, if you lose, it's okay. Use that to be motivated to win next time, not to stab each other and burn the city down.
I agree. I see where you're coming from. And that's an unfortunate side effect of all sports, it seems.
Yeah, and even in Jerusalem, when some friends used to play, I used to stand as a goalkeeper. I say goalie, but in Russian, goalie is naked.
Yeah. Yeah.
My friends told me because there were Russian punks, and at night they went to play soccer with the headbangers. a gate open. And I'm like, I'll be the goalie. And they're laughing. I'll be the goalie. And they're like, goalie means naked. So, but that was fun. That was just a bunch of drunken rockers playing. But when we're younger, when people play, I see them get really angry with each other and shouting and fighting. I'm like, wow, that, if you stress from your teacher or your parents, this is worse.
It's supposed to be uniting people instead of making people fight.
Yeah, that kind of put me off it, I guess. And I was more interested in sports you can do with your friends, but it's up to you, like skateboarding, like you can do, it's up to you alone, like archery alone, but your friend could also be next to you doing it, and you can talk about it. You understand?
I got you. I understand.
Sorry about that. Don't kill me. But no. I can kick a ball. I can kick the ball well. Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. My respect for you still stands there high. It's just I was very surprised.
No, but, I can kick the ball, the screw, the this, the that, but I never really played it. So
never really played.
Yet my friend till this day, he has a semi-professional, no, not semi-professional, like a business people in America, they meet, they wear uniform, and they go play like 2 times a week.
Like a casual league, yeah.
A casual league for them, and he still does it like religiously. And my cousin coach used to play all the time. Now he coaches kids, for positive thinking and stuff. He always coaches soccer in Jerusalem.
Oh, got it. And now another thing, I was supposed to see Melechesh. Oh my God. I think when Epigenesis came out, you were supposed to come to Brooklyn and play a concert, and something happened. They didn't let us know on the way there. Actually, the show ended up getting canceled, and we were so disappointed.
We played. We did a full tour on Epigenesis in America. But and New York, I think. But sometimes some concerts get switched venues and stuff. On the one after, on Enki, I think we came to, Philadelphia, I think. I don't know. And we set up everything, but the booker didn't show up. And the show got canceled, and some people came from very far away. And I remember some lady and her friends, she was crying and like, what? We drove 4 hours. So I took them to the bus and made them a private show. Like with the guitar, gave them some beers. They checked their age, obviously. And did them like 4 songs in the bus because they drove 4 fucking hours.
Yeah.
And there was no show. We didn't even know. Just the booker didn't show up. No tickets, nothing.
Do you know any kind of timeline if you're gonna get back on tour soon or anything? Because I'm super excited to be able to see you.
Well, I mean, touring America is not easy. It's very expensive for bands and very risky. It's like many bands ended their career just because they toured in America. I mean, the visa alone is $5,000-6,000, whatever. Just the visa. And that's also a problem because American bands come to Europe without an artist visa, which is great. That's what we want. We want the best for our friends from the States, and it's good for the scene. But European bands need to get an artist visa. I can come to America without a visa or a visa waiver as a tourist, but the band needs an artist visa, right?
Oh my God.
And that is the first thing, then this, then that, then this, then that. So everybody keeps on taking from you, and there's less accountability. So it's more volatile. We do have a reliable touring agency in America. And of course, when there's a new album, we'll be coming to America when things are back to normal. We tour more in Europe. We have more tour offers coming up, but I'm kind of like being cautious because some are being canceled.
And also, because of the restrictions.
Exactly. And also on super hyper focus of writing the next album. I think there's maybe in early spring we'll do a South American tour and a Russian tour. But I'm trying to not take everything so I can finish writing the album because it's hopefully within spring we're in the studio.
In the studio, okay.
Yeah. But then there's also, don't forget, a logistical supply problem in Europe, and I guess it'll come to, I don't know, America, because of the corona. So even
Yeah.
releasing an album is not easy. Like the printing companies, all this, they're all backlogged
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
was a lot of closures. So that's beyond our hands. But if it's up to us, the plan is around spring, mid spring, enter the studio. Then we deliver the master to the label. Then it's up to the logistical situation when the album comes out.
Got it.
Before it
Got it.
was more predictable. Now everything is being affected from it, from the pandemic. You know,
From the pandemic. Yeah.
so but definitely we will be talking about coming to USA, but it's too soon for me to tell you now. This time next year, I can exactly tell you when.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. And then from a perspective of Melechesh, what was the proudest, or I'll even go outside of Melechesh, what was your proudest moment as a musician that you had in your career doing music?
There's many cool moments you don't expect, but I think some of them is when bands I grew up listening to, they come to me and they go, they got inspired by a song, or they say we composed this song. Like you're like, if people know, like, who the fuck is Malkus compared to those guys, and they go, it's because of you we did this song. They come and I'm like, wow, so
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, of course.
If you would tell me that when I'm a kid, I would probably like go get the hell out of here. I mean, if you tell me when I'm a kid I'll be on an album or a magazine cover, I'll be like, stop it, man, stop
Yeah,
bullshitting.
yeah.
No, we're quite realistic people. Like I had a trippy mind, but not like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna be a rock star." No, I'm trippy minded, thinking about aliens or ancient civilizations, but that's about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
those are the proudest moments when you see like really, really artists that brought so much to the metal scene, to the music scene, saying we got influenced by you. I heard the song. They're digging songs here or there. Someone recommended to them, and I'm like humbled and like, holy shit, man! Unexpected stuff. I won't put names, but it's really flattering.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah,
very
of
flattering.
course.
Yeah.
And you told me that you're obviously working on a new album, and we're probably not going to hear anything until maybe perhaps next summer, maybe beyond. But can you maybe elaborate kind of what direction you're taking it, what in terms of working on material, or if you're trying to do maybe something different this time around, and how are you going to basically follow up on Enki?
I don't know. It's not thinking what was before, what will be after. It's thinking what I'm doing now. It's like I grab the guitar. Here's one. I grab it. Here's a 12 string. I grab the guitar and I just go. I just make a melody, and that if it becomes a story, it becomes it. It's not very planned. It's not very like you don't meet and make okay the direction here. We need to do. It is what it is. You like it, you like it. You don't like it, tough on me or on you. Whatever. As long as I'm convinced by it. There are songs that are straightforward, middle tempo, uh, aggressive on the guitar, but more on melody. And there's some more chaotic or more dreamy. It's just the moods are there, but I can't explain it more than that at this moment.
For me, listening to just you talk and listening to your music, it's almost like the way I put it together. It's more emotion and intuition based how you write
Yeah,
music.
yeah, absolutely. There's no agenda.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like here's a canvas, the painter comes like starts painting and then throws it away. Paints, I like it. Not like I'm gonna appeal more to the people who love animals, so I'm gonna put more animals. I can't I do that. Maybe if I was making $1 million an album, maybe I would do that. I don't know. It's like you take considerations. Maybe I haven't been there, but just play whatever comes out comes out.
I feel that 100% in
True.
music in general is this idea that you don't cater to somebody else. You write the music that's inside and you express it, and you hope
Yeah, and
that the fan
yeah,
picks it up and understands it. And
exactly. Yeah, I'm like, it's not like I don't care if you like it or not. Obviously, I hope you like it. You know what I mean?
of
But that's
course,
what's
yeah,
coming out from me now. I could exactly repeat emissaries. I could exactly, but change it. But I'll be like this. You could see my emotions on me very quickly. You would like see me not interested.
hmm
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So touch wood. Hopefully everything works out, and I continue going the right direction. You know, no crazy stuff happens. We had enough crazy stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
So
I wanna really, really thank you for doing this interview. I can't tell you for it's on this channel. I must have mentioned it. I mean, like at least 10, 15 times already. That Melechesh is one of my favorite bands of all time.
yeah, a friend of mine sent me the link from you, and that's how we got to know each
We
other.
got to
And
know each other.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I,
fantastic.
it was an immediate thing too. It's like I immediately got hooked on what this band was, and I was just on board. So I'm gonna be waiting for the new material. I'll be patient as long as I have to wait. But
It will
again,
happen. It will happen. I've talked with the label. We start making plans. Just hopefully, I mean, the plan goes. Do the finish the writing. No major Corona 2.0 double, triple, no crazy stuff. You know, the last 2 years also weren't the best time to release an album anyway.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
to some bands it worked. To me, I don't think it was. So maybe it works out for the best. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Like I said, I got to look after myself and turn that into making it for quality music.
Yes.
Nothing rushed. So yeah, I hope this time next year there'll be an album in your hands. Hopefully.
And maybe on that next year we'll sit down and chat again about the new album.
Pleasure. With pleasure.
Murat, thank you, my brother.
Okay, man. You have a wonderful night and catch you later.
Take care.